Hello, you're welcome to another exciting edition of The Agenda. This week, beaming to you live from LoveworldPlus, Lagos State, Southwest Nigeria. Well, it's been a very busy week indeed, and your guess is as good as mine, because this week there is no other issue that is so crucial as talking about the success of the United States of America election. It's hooray to the Democratic Republic, the Democratic Party anyway, of the United States, and Barack Obama. Well, have I said my name? My name is Philip Haza, and I'll be your host on The Agenda for today. My topic for today, as I said earlier on, is reviewing the Nigerian electoral process and lessons from the American elections. Well, elections all over the world are a litmus test meant to prove the credibility of candidates slated for elective positions. Well, this is the sole reason why any nation that desires change and total liberation from underdevelopment must start from her political system, because a fraudulent electoral system can only breed corrupt leadership. Now, the re-election of Barack Obama as the President of the United States of America has been celebrated all over Africa, including Nigeria. Could it be attributed to his constructive speeches on the world economy, or the trace of his genealogy from Africa? While some are of the opinion that it will unite the black race, others believe it is a victory for democracy. The question is, how can the Nigerian electoral process emulate the democratic norms demonstrated by the American election to produce leaders that are the people's choices? What lessons can Nigeria learn from this election? Well, this and all of so many other issues we'll be trying to get on the show today. And I'm going to be doing the part of questioning, but I have some distinguished guests to give us the answers and analysis. And I'm talking about Mazi Okechukwu Onegbu. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and good evening.
Yes, he's a friend, in fact, in this place, and he's not a stranger, so it's nice to have you once again. He's a banker, a financial expert, a legal practitioner, and a public policy analyst. I also have Mr. Patrick Olisaimeka. He's a business consultant, a social expert, and public policy analyst, especially on the show. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, my hands can't get there. Exactly, thank you. All right, once again, you're welcome. Once again, I said the topic is reviewing the Nigerian electoral process and, most importantly, lessons from the American elections. Okay, so I'll just start with the first question. According to American philosopher George Santayana, he said, those who cannot remember their past are condemned to repeat it. Now, 2015 is, it seems far, but it's just 3 years. It's definitely not so far. Well, judging from the just concluded American election, what do you think, what structures should be put in place for a successful election come 2015?
Well, I think we are, as a matter of fact, in Nigeria, we started building from the roof, right from the floor. I believe there should be some restructuring, serious restructuring, in terms of even from the family. If you see the American election, the family was emphasized so much. Not just where are you coming from? Who is your father? Who is your mother? What training do you have from the home? These are issues we hardly ever want to address in Nigeria. And secondly, American election, if we are to look at it, we must distinguish the two environments. The American environment is totally different from the Nigerian environment.
Is it possible for us to get there?
We can, but then to start to get there, first of all, you must structure our polity. And that restructuring begins from the family, the home, the churches, because if you don't, from what we've seen now, the blunder we had, what we have today is unfortunate. The early politicians, Awo, Zeke, Tafawa Balewa, Saldana, these were good politicians. And at that time, when we were in school, I schooled here in Lagos, if you came first, second, third, three of you will qualify to become either monitor or prefect in the classroom.
You handle the positions.
And your classmates will vote for you. Some will come to tell you, hey, I will vote for you, but don't write my name that you make a noise.
Exactly.
This is how it started.
Yes.
And when you chose a monitor, the rest are happy. And they also tell you, I'll work with you, but I'll point out those who will make noise in the class. So there was some camaraderie among all of us, and there was good system. Now, it happened also during the First Republic. People will lose the election. If you are not, you go to court or you just say congratulations. Now, it was destroyed with the military coup.
Okay.
But I believe we cannot, you mentioned the American philosopher, we cannot forget where we are coming from. Now, the danger we entered was when Babangida, Abacha did all the things they did, and people never believed, never had faith again in our elections. Now, when Abdulsalam Abubakar promised that he will hand over in 9 months, no Nigerian believed him. There was cynicism all over the place.
Yes.
That's how they tell us it can't be serious. So in the process, they clean politicians, because they didn't believe, receded to their homes and allowed people who apparently had no knowledge of politics, there's no training, what I might call hooligans, took over the political process.
So it's like saying a good went to sleep. The good men went to sleep.
That's right, and they left the field open. This is where we miss it. But I think we can go back, and that becomes restructuring in the family. We can get there, but I don't think we are going to get there in 2015. So 2015 will come and go, but we should be taking the lesson of what happened in America. But I said, I cannot compare the two environments at all.
At all.
So that is the basis.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, do you share the same views with
well, to a great extent, I share the same view. But I think aside from starting from the family, obviously in every society, the family is the building block upon which every other superstructure is built on.
Like they say, charity begins
at
home.
When we're talking about politics, the Bible says that if the foundation be wrong, be faulty, what can the righteous do? What we have in Nigeria is a situation where the foundation upon which our political activities is built on is very faulty. So we must go back to the building blocks. We must go back to the beginning. And where are the beginnings? If you watch the American election, you see that as the two political parties, major political parties, as they were going through the campaigning process, they were telling people what they would do, what they hope to do as individuals. Okay? In Nigeria, you don't have that. It's either you vote for PDP, you vote for ACN, you vote for Labour Party, you vote for this, without looking at what that person who is seeking office, what is his agenda for coming into politics? Does he have a good past? Does he have a good record, that he can stand on as an individual? That's why you find that even in our House of Representatives or in our Senate, you find a lot of people who are actually fraudsters there. Okay? And so really, going forward, Nigeria, we have to cleanse the system. We have to build a new foundation upon which we're going to, and part of this is all part of what you saw during the American election. Every time a politician came out and made a statement, within a few hours, that statement will be fact-checked.
Exactly.
They will check that fact
and
come back and say, hey, you are wrong there, or he boo-booed there, or pants on fire, he's told a big lie there. Here, we don't have all such foundations built for people to be able to compete in a political environment in a way that is healthy and meaningful and progressive for the entire society.
But if I'm to believe you, what about the 2011 election, which even world bodies acclaimed that it was to an extent free, fair, and transparent? So are you saying we have to also put that foundation aside and start again?
No,
because
those are
I
the
believe
foundations.
we're moving forward.
Those are the foundations that we are going to build on.
Okay.
But don't forget also, even the election you said that was free, fair, and
to an extent
was free and fair, was never accepted by all as free and fair.
Of course.
And the question must be why?
Okay.
Because here elections are about winner takes all, and so even you find out that politicians will do anything they can do so that they can win election, even if it means they have to kill, they have to maim, they have to destroy, they have to do so many things, because if you win, if you just manage to get in, as it were, you're done, you're good for the rest of your life. So they will do anything to achieve their political, but in North America and in the rest of the world, it's not like that. There's always another chance. There's a position for healthy opposition. Here, you don't. If you're not in the ruling party, you're gone. So we have to change a lot of things in our system.
There's no chance of even incorporating you into the system.
Yes. Even the 2011 election, you said was fair and fair. That was the election that brought out the highest legal battles in courts.
Exactly. That's true.
It was just too much. And it's still on anyway.
It's still on. Many of them are still on.
So I don't know how we are going to...
Okay, so do you think that, because some are calling for a review of the Nigerian Electoral Act to suit what Nigerians want, do you think that's what we need to reform?
I have read the Electoral Act. I don't think that's changing it or tinkering with it is not what we need. What we need are human beings that can operate that Electoral Act. Okay. He was talking about fact-checking. Even when you have the facts and say it, nobody will believe you. People will say, I bet, let the man go there. You saw what happened the other day. They were presenting a report before the president. There were all sorts of lies going on. People that have destroyed this economy are still people that are in the helm of affairs. It's not tinkering with the Electoral Act. It's not even tinkering with the Constitution. The Constitution has some areas, but I tell you, what we need to change are the human tornado we have in this country at the moment. The majority of Nigerians are very, very, very decent people, but a very few that believe that their life is dependent on money are the people there. American election took $2 billion US dollars.
It's $2.6 billion.
Now, that's fine, but how was it spent? On television, advertisements, publicity, telling you that I am credible, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know whether in this country, if you watch the electioneering campaigns, nobody talks about job creation. Nobody talks about employment.
And the how.
Nobody talks about, I'm going to tackle educational imbalances. All we are, tell you, PDP is the leading party. PDP is the biggest party in Africa. But those in PDP, do they know the issues on ground? The day we start discussing issue-based politics, that day we say we would have changed. There was supposed to be a debate for the 2011 elections. It didn't happen. The debate was called, our president, is it acting president then, refused to come. And then they say he was a debate. He came to talk on himself. That's what I understand as a debate. A debate is between between two people among several people. But we didn't get to have people. And when you start asking questions, you probably will have very shallow answers. So these are issues that we need to start doing this. Even at the local government level, the state government level, maybe some people will come out to start, look, we must start the organizing debate in the U.S. election started about in the 60s, and it has caught on. And it's an important aspect of, say, your face. People will see your face. People will discuss with you. People will throw questions at you. Questions will be written in, and you answer them based, first of all, on the economy that you are going to take on issues, on foreign policy. These things are not issues in this part of the world. So it's not the electoral law that is a problem. It's the human beings.
Well, since you've talked about debate, Mr. Patrick, do you agree that because the Americans place so much attention on debate? In fact, the President Obama, right now, the incumbent, almost lost a lot of votes during the first debate that he had with Romney. And if not that he had to catch up with the rest two debates, maybe something else would have occurred. Do you think there is a strong lesson to learn from that incident in Nigeria here?
Yes, I strongly believe so. Because if a man is offering himself for public office, he must be able to sell himself to the population, to the people who are ultimately going to vote for him. And how does he do this? You give him a platform, whether it's extempore, where people just ask him questions that he has not prepared for, because you want to see how your leader will respond and react to varying international and local issues as they come up. So a man who's able to articulate his ideas properly and proffer solutions would be obviously a better candidate than a man who just wants to wait for his DG or his PAMSEC to prepare for him a text which he reads out. He has not thought through properly.
Special advisor and
special advisor and so on and so on. All the chains of add-ons that we have in the political system. So I think the debate is one very good way of bringing out in an extemporary manner the quality of the candidate before you. You can ask questions, you can hear him out, you can profile. He says, I believe in same-sex marriage or whatever it is, and then you can ask him questions and then let him defend his position. These are all very good ways or very good things that our political system should begin to adopt, which if we don't, we will continue to vote not on agenda of people or what they stand for. We'll continue to vote for political parties and what the political parties may stand for. But really, we're not talking about political parties, we're talking about individuals, the people who are going to run the leadership, who are going to lead the government. You need to know what they can do, you need to know how they think, and you need to know how they respond to varying international circumstances and situations, be it economic, foreign policy issues, or even domestic issues. These are very critical.
Wow, thank you so much.
Let me give you one small example.
Okay.
We lost Aeze in my village.
Okay.
I was asked to come and be an Aeze. I said, oh, no, that's not my business.
Wow.
I have something serious I'm doing.
So we should have been celebrating with you right now.
And they said, okay, come and help us choose an Aeze. And I said, if you want me to do that, you must allow me freedom to design how we're going to do it.
Okay.
We now had some other people, 2 other people.
You constituted an INEC,
together, and then those who want to should come in, submit their forms and all that. And then we subjected them to our own screening, and then brought the 3 of them out. One was a PhD holder, the other one was a PhD holder, the other one was a lawyer, the other one was somebody who is maybe a grassroots type of person. We brought them out to the community, and they questioned them one by one. At the end of the day, when we now conducted the guy who told them, look, I'm going to stay in this community, I've stayed here, the doctor is coming from here, he has not told you how he was going to control security, how he was going to make sure he solves out local problems. Eventually, the lawyer, we can ask him to go to court for us, let him not come and be. And that was how they did it. Wow. And they selected him in a transparent manner. People decided to choose somebody based on his utterances, like he just said. You must know the person, not be telling him that because you are in a party and all that. There were issues that were discussed, issues that were questioned about their family life, where they are coming from, what they do they have a clean character, what really is their focus for that community, and they were able to express themselves. So this is what we should be doing in the national level. If we don't do that, we are...
We've not started yet. All right. Well, you're watching The Agenda, and we've been talking a lot about reviewing the Nigerian electoral process and lessons from the American elections. This is on the back of the just concluded and successful elections in the United States, where even the opposition, Mitt Romney, came out gracefully to accept defeat, which is not the case in this part of the country. Immediately after elections, we see a lot of negative stories on the front pages of our newspapers, either crimes, either brutality from some group of people, either refusals from unions to say, look, we do not accept the result, court cases. In fact, lawyers get very busy at that point, and which is not the case anyway in the just concluded United States election. Okay, now from the just concluded election in Ondo State and in some other states, Edo State and the rest of them, we saw some level of transparency here. What do you think should be added, because we're still building, like you said, what do you think should be added, Mr. Patrick?
Well, in the recently concluded elections in Ondo, there was a lot more transparency than had existed hitherto in our election processes. But what can we add? One of the things that I think we should begin to consider, and I would want INEC to seriously consider doing this, is in future elections, not only do you have the biodata of the people, biodata. The biodata of the people, the electorate, as it were. But you must have it in such a manner that it can be used for other academic and analytical purposes in future. For instance, during the American election, you'll be seen on one side of the screen that Christian voters, or people who have this inclination, the questions that were asked during the polling processes, because there's data on the people. And also, you wouldn't hear of snatched ballot boxes. You wouldn't hear of ballot boxes being snatched. Why? Because everything is such that it's transparent, it's done in the open, the counting is done in the open, all the processes that lead to it is very transparent. All the political parties are represented and they all sign. But what we have in Nigeria is a system where if the election is not going in the favor of, say, a particular candidate or political party, they arrange for the ballot box to be snatched or the papers to be switched. And all this is actually suppressing the will of the people. The biggest danger that we have in Nigeria is that all the candidates, and I dare say so, all the candidates that have presented themselves for election in Nigeria are not really grassroots people. They're not people that were elected, that would have come up if it had been that the community, at the community level, the community was allowed to pick up their leaders, and from the community level, they went to the state level, from the state level to the national level. Yes. What we have is a system where godfatherism, people in Abuja superimpose on the community who's going to be the local government chairman, who's going to be this. And so even when it comes to voting, you discover that you're actually not voting for the people that you would normally have chosen because they have superimposed a candidate on you. We must begin to avoid that in our community because the people are the owners and custodians of power. The leaders are actually supposed to be the servants of all. But here it is the other way around. It is the servants that have, just like in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, I've seen an evil, a great evil, where the prince is, walking on the ground, and, the horse is, walking free. It's the other way around. The actual power belongs to the people. And so we must have a system that preserves the power in the hands of the people. Otherwise, you will keep having a situation where actors and manipulators will continue to manipulate the system to their own advantage. This we must begin to, get rid of in our political system.
That's the second scripture you've quoted today. I didn't know you drew a lot of wisdom from that. All right, you're still watching The Agenda. Don't forget you can be a part of the show. All you have to do is send your comments to agenda@loverplusnews.net. I'm already getting some beeps here. Some people have sent their comments, but then we'll take that. After this break, we need to take a look at some visuals, especially about how Mitt Romney, the opposition in the United States, came out gracefully to accept defeat. I believe we're ready to take that now, so just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I have just called President Obama to congratulate him on his victory. His supporters and his campaign also deserve congratulations. I wish all of them well, but particularly the President, the First Lady, and their daughters. This is a time of great challenges for America, and I pray that the President will be successful in guiding our nation. I want to thank Paul Ryan for all that he has done for our campaign. And for our country. Besides my wife, Ann, Paul is the best choice I've ever made. And I trust that his intellect and his hard work and his commitment to principle will continue to contribute to the good of our nation. I also want to thank Ann, the love of my life. She would have been a wonderful First Lady. She has been that and more to me and to our family and to the many people that she has touched with her compassion and her care. I thank my sons for their tireless work in behalf of the campaign and thank their wives and children for taking up the slack as their husbands and dads have spent so many weeks away from home. I want to thank Matt Rhodes and the dedicated campaign team he led. They have made an extraordinary effort, not just for me, but also for the country that we love. And to you here tonight, and to the team across the country, the volunteers, the fundraisers, the donors, the surrogates, I don't believe that there's ever been an effort in our party that can compare with what you have done over these past years. Thank you so very much. Thanks for all the hours of work, for the calls, for the speeches and appearances, for the resources and for the prayers. You gave deeply from yourselves and performed magnificently. And you inspired us and you humbled us. You've been the very best we could have imagined. The nation, as you know, is at a critical point. At a time like this, we can't risk partisan bickering and political posturing. Our leaders have to reach across the aisle to do the people's work. And we citizens also have to rise to the occasion. We look to our teachers and professors. We count on you not just to teach, but to inspire our children with a passion for learning and discovery. We look to our pastors and priests and rabbis and counselors of all kinds to testify of the enduring principles upon which our society is built: honesty, charity, integrity, and family. We look to our parents. For in the final analysis, everything depends on the success of our homes. We look to job creators of all kinds. We're counting on you to invest, to hire, to step forward. And we look to Democrats and Republicans in government at all levels to put the people before the politics. I believe in America. I believe in the people of America. And I ran for office because I'm concerned about America. This election is over, but our principles endure. I believe that the principles upon which this nation was founded are the only sure guide to a resurgent economy and to renewed greatness. Like so many of you, Paul and I have left everything on the field. We have given our all to this campaign. I so wish that I had been able to fulfill your hopes to lead the country in a different direction, but the nation chose another leader, and so Ann and I join with you to earnestly pray for him and for this great nation. Thank you, and God bless America. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, you're still watching The Agenda. That was quite an emotional speech coming from someone that was supposed to have lost, but he didn't look like the vanquished there. Really, I don't know. Do you think this can be achieved in Nigeria very soon, especially when you talk about the process of the election, the primaries, the tours? They spent a lot of money and effort and time and energy, you know, but then we saw a lot of passion in the both candidates. This is quite the closest, tightest race so far in the history of the United States, and he came out gracefully to you know, accept defeat. Do you think this can be achieved soon in Nigeria, because we're taking lessons from America?
Well, that's a lesson.
Yes.
Why not? Because don't even look at Romney. Look at the crowd. Those
the crowd,
supporters.
exactly.
When he said, "I've just spoken to the president to congratulate," everybody clapped, which means they have accepted
Also,
their own behavior is even a wonderful behavior.
so what you mean is he is a reflection of the people's minds.
That's right.
Wow.
And then the people are accepted as he's accepting the elected president. Here, we go rampaging because our own man did not win. It's a dangerous thing, and I think the politicians themselves will have to let their people that support them know that this is not a game of do or die. It's a beautiful game. If we win, we congratulate ourselves, and also if we lose, we thankfully accept defeat and then play to work with the other party to make our country. We should be talking of a country, not parties. A country this time around.
Yes.
And at the same time, if you watch what happened, all the Nigerian politicians have come out to say, hey, this is a beautiful thing. Are they really?
Are they learning?
Are they learning from it?
Yes.
Are they sincere that what they could replicate it here? That is the question. The president, the vice president, the Senate president, everybody, even politicians, are hailing the American election and shouting praises on Romney for accepting defeat wholeheartedly. Can they do the same thing? Are they just saying, coming up to say this so that we can see their faces or read what they say in the newspapers? Can they please replicate the same thing in themselves and in their supporters? Wow. It can be done. I don't know why it cannot. Because we don't need to win all the time. After Abraham Lincoln lost several times, and yet came back and won, as long as he was still living. Exactly. Even if he died, the country will continue. So why can't we have the same manner and talk of a country rather than our own individual selves? Wow. Money was spent in this election.
A lot of money.
I don't know how in our own, how much is spent on advert on the TV or in the papers.
He came out openly to even, the both parties,
zero. The way they spend their own money is by coming in our houses. I will give you money. You see somebody who says the leader of organizing this area, he's giving some money. He goes inside. Nobody knows how much he's given. Devices to comes and shares. I mean, it's a disaster pathetic for us. I hope we'll be able to start changing this type of style.
From what you said now, that means you're supporting some views of some people that the leadership of a country is a reflection of the people in that same country.
Yes,
so it starts from us, the individuals, from what you said. Okay, I would like to take some comments because they're getting so much now, so they don't make us draw back on the show. But I have a lot of comments here. One from Desmond Emeka, Northampton, United Kingdom. He says, okay, he gave two options here. Stop stealing ballot boxes, simply put. And then he says, America announced each state result as it came. They didn't have to wait till the entire election was over to announce them. Try that in Nigeria and see what happens. Okay, that's Desmond's view. How do you react to that?
Yes, I was the one that talked about snatching ballot boxes. Is actually a system of, that's the highest level of corruption. Yeah. Because basically not only are you doing what is bad, you're actually circumventing the will of the people. This qualifies, as far as I'm concerned, for treason. But it's just that in our society that doesn't. But I want to touch on a little bit about what Maxi was talking about, which is the fact that people should gracefully accept the verdict.
No court of appeal, no Supreme
Well,
court,
even if you have to go to court, if there are cogent and proper reasons to go to court, why not? That's what the courts are, what the courts are for. But I like to say that I'm not a politician, but I believe that there's a glimmer of hope in the Nigerian system. And why do I say so? During the Ondo elections, governorship elections, when Mimiko won, there was a lot of people, from the Senate president to the leader of the House of Assembly to the president, who, being in the other political party, still came out and congratulated him. Okay, they congratulated him. But unfortunately, the PDP in Ondo State refused and were actually castigating the leadership of PDP. Why do you want to come into Ondo State and begin to congratulate? You understand? These people are setting the right examples. These are the correct things to do in a society where democracy, where free election and society is allowed to operate the way it should. So because of that singular effort by the PDP to congratulate the Labour Party during the victory of Mimiko in Ondo State, shows that, yes, we are beginning to, it may be slow, but there's glimmer of hope that we can get there. So I think we're not just completely, written off. There's still something good that can come out of this wonderful nation called Nigeria.
All right.
In the United States, every state organizes the election.
Their own election. I was just coming to that because you said something, you gave us an example of how you conducted the chieftaincy title in your state. So
every state organizes the election and sends the result.
Okay, so they have their own constitution, talking about INEC and Electoral.
That's what it is, all of them. But can we do it in Nigeria?
If you ask, I should be asking you.
Well,
do you think we should have it?
You see, if there is the will, to do, the problem is lack of will. I'll give you an example. You and I know that our senators and our members of our House of Assembly are earning preposterous sums of money. Okay, they call their salary. Some of them in upwards of 40 million or 30 million per quarter. But you see, it's legalized stealing. Legalized stealing because a few people have come together and have written into the books the fact that the allowances for senators should be this and that, and then they pay themselves. But when it gets to paying the average man on the street, they say 18,000 naira per month. There's no money to finance it. You understand? So, and why does this happen? This happens because we have a system where people are not held accountable. And we must begin to hold our leaders accountable for their actions. There must be a system of recall where the people in the community can come and say to the senator or the member of the House of Rep, and say, look, we sent you there to go and do this, Y, Z, but you have not represented us. What you're doing is your own. And you call him back, you recall him so that you can send another person who can adequately represent the interests and the aspirations of that community. Until we begin to do things like this, then we're found in a situation where we're hamstrung, we cannot do much.
There's another lesson here. Do you know that Romney was a former governor of Massachusetts?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, during the election, Obama won very clearly. And there are some Republican states who had Republican governors, yet Obama still won election
in those
that
states.
state.
So it's not really
Here,
about...
the president will tell you, if I lose in your state,
you're done for.
you know, that sort of thing. So you see that happening. Yes, the governor can be from, say, PDP in Ondo State. It does not stop. It does not stop
The president from having...
maybe ANPP or ACN winning election in Ondo State. That's the lesson we have to learn. You know, it's something that really I was saying, hey, look at people that love themselves.
Yes.
People in Ohio, maybe a Republican governor in Ohio, yet Ohio voted for a Democratic president.
Okay. Let me take more comments here. This is from Pastor Oluwaseyi Hamilton, Lagos, Nigeria. He says, one lesson to learn from America's experience is that election is not a do or die affair, as well as the winner takes it all, and where an aspirant has nothing to offer the electorate, such person or persons should not be elected in office in the first place. Thank you. Thank you so much. Another one from Abayomi Aromona. There is no location here, but he or she says, how about an educated electorate that can differentiate between genuine political parties and the mushrooms? Okay, we need to let people know that their decisions to vote for any particular candidate or party can have a lifetime consequence that will affect generations to come. I have more here, but what I wanted to say was, you gave a very good example. Do you think we should decentralize the electorate? Talking about INEC, we see cases of late arrivals of ballot boxes, in fact INEC materials in lots of localities which are maybe in the suburbs, the inner sections of the country. Don't you think every community, every council should have their own maybe system of voting or system of conducting their own elections, and all of that? Don't you think is necessary? But before you answer that, we need to take a breather. We need to take a break for another visual. When we come back, this is the agenda. We'll be right back. Just stay tuned. Right, that was a short clip showing you a contrast of how the voting process is or was in America, and usually is in America, and then how it is or how it was in Nigeria, though it has gotten better than it was a long time ago. That was the clips for Nigeria from 2011 elections. You saw a lot of discomfort for the voters. You saw a lot of it looked like they were not planned, for that election. Lots of people were under the sun, long queues, complaints here and there, but it wasn't the case in America. I mean, Mr. Mazi, with all the money in this country, what do you think?
Well, in America, you have early voting, can vote by mail,
Okay.
can vote even when diaspora voting.
Yes. Yes.
Diaspora
People
voting.
from France and other
Now,
countries.
you see, you know what this takes me to? I'm still wondering whether Nigeria is a country. Yeah, because in the U.S., even when you talked of long queues, there were long queues.
Sure.
For instance, in Florida, in Ohio, if you watch the television, long queues, but there was patience.
Compulsion.
I want to do this for the love of my country, not for the love of a state
Or a party.
or for a party. But I'm voting Romney because I believe he will satisfy my own aspirations when he gets to Washington. You know, so that's why I'm wondering, when we talked about state voting, say PDP in Imo, can they vote there and their own ISEC? Look at what happens when they have their own electoral commission in these states. It's the governor's party that must win the local governments.
Exactly.
Otherwise, nothing happens. This is the danger we face, and that's why I wonder whether we are really operating a country or we are just feeding fat, according from what he said, feeding fat a few people who had the opportunity of garnering money. Watch what happened in some of the arguments we are making in this country. A woman from a particular state, maybe from Anambra or so, married to Abia, is denied being sworn in as Court of Appeal president. What are we talking about? That's why I say I doubt if we are really a country.
Yes.
And this, not only that, a person speaking the same type of language with you,
Within that
within
region.
the same enclave, except that we created states, and you are saying it should not be sworn because it's not from your, it's not, what, is that a country? It's not a country. So what are we talking about? It worries me because I believe I should be talking more of Nigeria than I should be talking more of my own local government.
Exactly. We left off with a question, Mr. Mazi, but since you've already given us some views, let's allow Mr. Patrick do justice to that question about decentralizing the INEC system. How viable, how possible do you think it will be run? Yes, we'll be back to its proper security, but then can they come up with their own initiatives, talking about the different, maybe not states, smaller localities?
Ideally, that is what it should be.
Okay.
But unfortunately, things are not ideal here. Ideally, we should have light 24/7, but we don't have light 24/7. Okay? So now, what am I saying? I'm basically saying that I do not quite agree that we are ripe enough. Not because it's not ideal, but we're not ripe enough. If you allowed every state to organize their own elections, are they going to organize it based on the same rules across the nation? And where you have a PDP governor, an ACN governor, a Labour governor, are they going to play by the same rules? It's because we do not have patriotism in our system that makes us do what we do. In America, in some countries, in Britain, there's community policing, which means that you're within the community,
sort of
you know
vigilante.
everybody around there,
Yes.
and it's easy for you to police.
True.
But in Nigeria, it cannot work. It's not working because everything has to be centralized. Everything has come from Abuja. The IG has to give instructions from Abuja. That's how our system works. And our electoral processes, our rules, our laws are based and takes the assumption that only INEC can be an impartial judge. Okay, and so everything is built around INEC, and yet INEC, the whole thing becomes so overwhelming for INEC. It's such a big burden. They have to organize elections in every locality, in every small nook and corner.
Which probably they've never been to.
Which they've never been to. So they are not conversant with the environment. They don't know. They just work based on information. Imagine a master room in Abuja where some wise men, in quotes, are sitting there and deciding in Lagos, in Shomolu, where the polling booths are going to be and stuff like that. It does not make for proper organization. It makes it so very wielding for them, and they're not able to cope. But ideally, in an ideal situation, that should really be what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Having the community organize it, give them the set of rules, and then they do. But I think it's something we'll grow to.
Exactly.
Given our track record for, not doing things properly.
some people say mediocrity has a lifespan. Very soon we'll come of age.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Do you? I saw you giving some.
Yeah,
some
my
smart.
problem, that's, I want
Did you
to
completely
say,
agree with
that's
him?
what I was talking about restructuring.
Yes.
Restructure this conundrum
Yes.
called Nigeria into a country. When I was schooling here in the 60s, I didn't know who was a Yoruba man or a Hausa man. We were all living in the same zone, walking the streets as children. I'll be coming back from school. I'll go to my friend's house and I will eat. And there was no rancor, nothing. The free education offered by Iowa, I enjoyed it, even though I wasn't Yoruba, living in Mushin and all that. So there was that understanding. I never differentiated.
Yeah.
It was after the war I started knowing, oh, this is where I'm from. So we must talk about a restructuring based on family values, and then go to national values. We used to start what was called civics.
Yes.
Respect to country.
Exactly.
Respect for your president. Respect for your local government, whatever. Respect for the next level of elder that is around you. In my street, I was the child of everybody.
Home.
And if they see me anywhere doing something wrong, they will drag my ear.
Like the way your
And
guardian.
my parents will never ask any question. Don't mind him. That's how stupidly he behaves. He condemns me before those ones. But if you do it today, you are going to go to court.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mazi. Can you believe we're almost done with the show? We've gone a long way, actually. All right. I'll quickly take the comments. I have more comments, so I do justice to them on the show. This one is from Victor Inyoko. There is no location. He says, Nigerians, most especially politicians, should learn to accept defeat, for in every game there must be a winner. INEC and the judiciary should also be up on their feet to perform their duties efficiently during and after elections without fear or favor in order to set the right agenda. All right, and then lastly, this is from John Aderoba. John Aderoba is from Lagos State, Nigeria. He says, when there is a will, there is a way. The difference between what is happening in the US and Nigeria is just the willpower. When Nigerians are ready for change, change will come. Their campaign was not about sharing bags of rice, salt, face caps, money, recharge cards, T-shirts, etc., etc. They were issue-based, economy, healthcare, employment, etc. I wonder what we are doing with 52 political parties. Most of these parties cannot even vie for a post of a councillor. Let us try a two-party system. Okay, thank you so much, John Adair, but that was really analytical. He gave a lot of views there. I don't know if we'll have much time, so I'd like us to just take our parting shots, also considering the fundraising, how they were able to, on party financing, how they were able to announce their funds gradually as it came publicly, and how they also disbursed the funds. What do you think? Do you think we can really get there in 2015, or how far can we get in 2015?
That is why the two parties are even existing. Funding from those who believe in them.
Yes.
Party members funding the party. Here, it is a different ballgame altogether. That's why I have one big godfather who has stolen so many millions of our own money, of our tax money, going to his village and says, I'm going to make you the governor of this state. Now he starts sharing the money. And if he doesn't have it, if you don't have such money, you cannot do anything. Comparing Obama and Romney, Obama is a poor person compared to Romney. Even with all the money Romney had, he had to be supported by contributions from Americans. And there's a limit to which you can give, which is by law.
Yes.
You cannot contribute much more than this to one person in a single. And then there's also the idea that you cannot accept foreign funding.
Okay.
So these are issues. I think the time we start funding parties ourselves, knowing what we stand for, that will be better for this country. Otherwise, using state funds, I may not believe in where you are putting my money, which is part of the tax that I paid. So if I give, say, 100 naira to a candidate's voting point, I think we have to start that maybe from the local government and see how it works.
Yes.
Because in local governments,
you can
the
easily ask
state
questions.
will give money and throw money about to allow hooligans to take over local. That's why there's no local government that is doing well anywhere in this country.
Exactly.
I mean, I stand to be corrected because I've toured almost every part of this country. You cannot see any local. And counties in the United States, which is the equivalent to our local governments, are the development agents of that area.
States. Thank you so much, Mr. Mazi Okechukwu. All right, Mr. Patrick, lastly, he said something that Mr. Obama is a poor president, a poor man. And he's the president. He served for 4 years. He's supposed to be well richer than Mitt Romney, who actually was a governor and had some businesses. You know, what do you draw from that? Do you think, in a nutshell, at the end of your speech, do you think we can actually get there? Very, very briefly.
We will get there, because to say we will never get there is to spell doom.
What about the two-party system?
Even the two-party system. You see, I was just going to say that the illustration he made between Romney and Obama, very correct. Romney is a multi-millionaire or billionaire. He has a lot of money. Obama does not. But Obama won the election because character prevailed over money.
Sure.
Okay? People could see that in America is an issue of character. Who are you? In Nigeria, unfortunately, it's still about money.
Yes.
Whether it's a dog you're putting there, you know, once it's properly financed, he will actually win elections in Nigeria. Even if the people don't know him, they just say, we are voting for Mr. XYZ.
In fact, we're voting for the party.
We're voting for parties. Yeah. And so I don't want to ever think that anything is impossible.
Sure.
Because I'm very optimistic that things will change. But we need to really begin to gather ourselves together. We need to educate people. We need to build upon the foundations of civics, like he said. People must be taught civics in school. They must be taught what it means to be a good citizen.
Yes.
What the aspects of citizenship should be. Because in every nation, the citizens have their role to play, and the government has their role to play. Once the citizens have done their bit, the government has no choice but to do their own bit. But here it's the other way around. They take your tax money. Once you paid your taxes, then you're told, you don't worry about what we do with the money. Government begins to spend it anyhow they like.
Wow.
And that is wrong. That is corruption, and that should stop.
That should stop. Thank you so much. That should stop, and we should stop also on the show. My name is Philip Haza, and we've been reviewing the Nigerian electoral process and lessons from the American elections. Send your views and comments to agenda@loverplusnews.com, and I'm sure we'll be able to have a good show next time when we come back, same station and same time. I hope you've had a wonderful show once again. Thank you for joining us. This is The Agenda. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.